welcome to week 6 of my Boston Marathon training. My name's Steve Nixon and this is my channel Old Man Does Try. So this week training again was 3 bikes, 2 were indoors on the watt bike, 5 runs, 3 swims including the tri-club swim, and the long run which I'm going to focus on in this video, and also while I was just doing at the end of the week a turbo session, I thought I'd look at 5/6 of my favourite podcasts I like to listen to while I'm out running. And talking about running, this week's total, I've just about hit 38 miles for the week. So this is going into uncharted grounds for me, for the volume. So it's right up to the peak of my Chicago training, as I think I've mentioned before. So let's have a look at the long run and then about the podcasts.
Morning and welcome to a wet Saturday morning. I've crossed over the border again into Staffordshire to a little village called Betley, and I'm going to be running over towards Newcastle-under-Lyme, Stoke-on-Trent. Again, it's to find some hills, because where I live in Sandbach in Cheshire is flat, or you're only going to get a couple of feet in a long run. So today's run is 15 mile with approximately 1,000 feet of climbing. But that was a hard, just over 15 miles, wet, we're approximately 1,000 feet of climbing. The last couple of miles the legs are completely dead, absolutely dead. But just a quick breakdown of what the session long run was broken up into. It was a 10-minute warm up, then it was 80 minutes at zone 2, 30 minutes at marathon race pace, and then just a cool down at the end. But yeah, it was very tough.
Well, it's the end of week 6 now. I'm just doing a turbo session, and then I'm going for a 45-minute zone 2 run. I thought while I was sat on the bike this morning, I could just talk through some podcasts I listen to when I'm out running. So I'm going to just talk very quickly about 5 of my favourites, and then a special mention for one other which is very applicable to all us age groupers. So at this stage I need to put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. So the first one is the Daily Try. This is hosted by Travis Mundell. He does a lot of try news on YouTube as well, but I tend to listen to him, his podcast. He has a lot of professional triathletes either on or talking about professional triathlon races, and some good ones on the new T100, which is the PTO new race series. So that was one I listened to yesterday on my long run. The second podcast I enjoy listening to out on my runs is the Triathlon Hour by Jack Kelly. If you listen to podcasts, a lot of you might have heard his interview with the outgoing CEO of Ironman when he started eating his lunch halfway through the interview and then decided to leave and the questions got slightly tougher. But on his podcast he talks everything pro triathlon news, training, racing, and the world's best triathletes and coaches he has on. And he's also now got a series with 5 up and coming newly professional triathletes, a couple from Britain, America and Australia, and they do a podcast and they just talk about all their training and difficulties with being a pro triathlete. So that's quite a good series as well. Number 3 on my list is the Triathlon Brick Session, and the host of that is Mark Livesey. Mark, like myself, ex-army and no holds bars. He speaks his mind, which is good. He doesn't pussyfoot around anybody. He says it as it is. So if you want an interesting listen, honest opinions, that's a good one. He does have some really good guests. My list is the Oxygen Addict Triathlon Podcast, presented by Rob Wilby. This and like the 5th one, which we'll do soon, I've been listening to since about 2019. Lots of training tips and coaching advice for age group, time-starved athletes, mainly focusing on 70.3 and Ironman distances. But they also, every so often, brings one of his coached athletes on and goes through their training and all that. So some great guests and very informative. And the last one, number 5 of my main set of 5 that I listen to, is Simon Ward's, it's a mouthful this is, the High Performance Human Triathlon Podcast. Simon looks at all different angles of trying to be a better human being with your health, mind, all those things like that. He's also an award-winning triathlon coach, and as I said about the Oxygen Addict podcast, I've been listening to these ones since 2019. So I've built up most of my knowledge from these sort of podcasts. And Simon has his own online triathlon training platform where you put in into Training Peaks. He puts all your training in there, so all you've got to do is get up in the morning, look at it and do it. And I've been with Simon probably for about 3 years now, so yeah, I enjoy the training. It takes the stress away from doing that, but forgetting about just being a coach to me, the podcast is really good as well. Start stripping off, it's getting warm on this bike now in the garage. And the final one, which I said I was given a special mention to, is AMP, which is Age Group Multisport Podcast. And this is really good because you can only go on the show if you're an age grouper who's represented, majority of people is GB, at either triathlon, duathlon, aqua bike, aqua run, so multisports. I had a few Americans on as well, but really interesting just to hear individuals' stories, how they got into the sport, and yeah, there's some really good ones on there. So that's all on my 5 ones I always listen to, and then a special mention to AMP, which I've listened to most of them as well, but they're really good. So take a look. I'll leave some of the information up on the screen.